on YouTube. Hello, we're live. What's going on if you're watching live? Let me know in the comments what city you're tuning in from. I'm Melanie Suber. Today I want to talk about the truth about what it's like working with your spouse. And I wanted to talk about this for a while because it's something that I hear very often. Hey, Brad, how's it going? When people hear that I work with Jordan, who is my husband, they're like, oh, either they're like, actually almost overwhelmingly the response that I get is, oh, I could never work with my spouse. And that's a very interesting response, I believe. But hey, every couple is entitled to their own opinion. And I just wanted to hop on here and share what it's really like, what my experience has been. And if this is an interesting topic, maybe in a next video, I could talk about what we've learned and kind of like the hacks. But mostly I'm sharing this because maybe you've heard my story. Before I met Jordan, I was pretty clear that I wanted to end up with someone that I could run a business with. And so I found these couples that did run a business together because I firmly believe that the fastest way to create something in your own life is to figure out who already has it, so you can create that belief in yourself that it's possible, and you can kind of learn from the people that have it. So I followed a handful of entrepreneurial couples that ran their business together. Actually, one of them is my very dear friends, but the rest of them, I didn't know them. I just kind of followed them online, and I loved when they talked about their relationship online because it could help me with my beliefs around finding that sort of partner. So I wanted to make this video because I would have loved to have this video like 3.5 years ago before I met Jordan, to really see what it's like behind the scenes to work with your spouse, because I think there's a lot of misconceptions. I believe it's misconceptions. And the reason I say that is because the most common response that I hear is, oh my God, I could never work with my spouse. So I'm going to talk about mostly the benefits, but at the end, I want to talk about like the biggest thing that has been a challenge, I guess you could say, and how we have overcome that, or how I have overcome that. If you're new, hi, I'm Melanie Suber. I run a real estate business with my husband, Jordan. We run a global real estate team, and now we help other team leads and brokers build their team or brokers so that they can have the time freedom and financial freedom that they deserve. So this one is not really about real estate, but it is about business. So the truth, like I said, about working with your spouse for me is that it has been overwhelmingly positive. Yes, there has been obstacles and road bumps and all of those things, but mostly it's just been incredible. And here are my reasons why. The first one is the amount of time that we spend together. Now, a lot of people think when you work with your spouse that we're like sitting at the same desk, talking to each other all day long. And that is not true. I have my office. Jordan has his office. We definitely do a lot of meetings together and interact with each other throughout the day. But for the most part, it's more like we're just coworkers working on the same thing. But that being said, we spend a ton more time together than we would if we worked at different businesses, or especially worked at different jobs. So I did the math with ChatGPT this morning. And if you work 40 hours a week and you work at your job or your business for 40 years, that is over 10 years of time that you are at work or working away from your family. So 10 years. So if Jordan and I are together for 40 years, but we're working on different businesses, that basically takes away 10 years of our time together. Or another way to say that is, by working together, we gained an extra 10 years of time. And Jordan often likes to remind me of this, how much time we spend together compared to the average couple who they wake up, they go to work, they come home, maybe they have dinner together a couple nights a week, and maybe that's it. And whereas Jordan and I, even though we're in different offices during the day, etc., we still, I eat lunch with him every day. I eat dinner with him pretty much every day. I see him a lot during the day. If I want to, pop in to his office and say hi, I'm able to do that. So just the time that we get to spend together. And for me, I chose to marry Jordan because I love spending time with him, because I love him as a person. The reasons that I chose him as a business partner are very similar. I respect him. I think he's very smart. I trust him. All of the things for me that I was looking for in a partner, I was also looking for in a business partner. So it just made sense. And working together has allowed us to spend a ton more time together, not to mention all of the travel time where we go to business conferences or we're going, out of state for things. If it was just me running a business and going to those, that would be time apart. And now we're getting to spend that time together. So that has been a huge benefit, is just the amount of time that we get to spend together. And thanks everyone for jumping in. If you're watching live or if you're watching the replay, let me know what city you're tuning in from. I'm talking about what it's like to run a business with your spouse. So the second thing is that it has helped our communication so much. Most people say that like the secret to a happy marriage is good communication. Now for us, we get to work on our communication in our marriage, and we also get to work on our communication in our business, and both of those bleed back and forth to each other, because it's not like we have one set of communication skills for business and a totally different set for our relationship. For example, if we have a difficult conversation, if we're learning about each other, how to navigate that difficult conversation, whether that's in our business or in our relationship, we are learning that about each other and improving that skill set with each other. So the more that we can better communicate in our business, I found that the better we can communicate in our marriage, and vice versa. And kind of jumping off of the first point, because we're spending so much time together and because we are having way more conversations, and especially in business when it can be a lot of heavier or more serious conversations, in our marriage, often it's like, where do you want to eat dinner tonight? Or what should we do today? Stuff like that. But in the business, it's like, why isn't this working? What could we do to make it work? How are our finances this month or this week? Things that tend to have a little more emotional charge. Hey, Ricky, how's it going? And so having more practice for that, I have found, has just sped up hugely our skill set for that, because the best way to grow your skill set about anything is to do that thing. So by having more conversations with each other in our day-to-day life, we have been able to increase that skill set even faster. So first one is time. Second one is our communication that we've been able to grow together. The third thing is that we have the same priorities. This was one that I was not expecting, but it's really nice when we truly understand each other and have the same priorities. For example, some days, if I say to Jordan, hey, we should spend some quality time tonight, let's watch a movie, and then something comes up with the business and he can't, I am totally understanding of that. Whereas I think if we did not run the business together, or we did different things and he quote, abandoned me for a business meeting, that would hurt me more. But in this case, I'm like, great, I would rather have you do the business. We both have the same goals and the same vision. So it's really easy to understand when things like that come up. Another example of this is recently there was a death in my family and we were out of town for the funeral, and Jordan did have a lot of important calls that had previously booked. And first of all, I actually told him, don't come with me. I would rather have you at home doing the calls. And he said, no, I want to be with you. And he navigated his schedule that he could come and do the calls from New Jersey, where we were for the funeral. And I think that, again, if we weren't business partners and he had said, hey, I have these really important calls, I can't reschedule them, I would be very upset about that. I mean, I'm guessing because it's like, hey, I'm grieving, I'm in this time of need, and you're my husband. But in this situation, I was actually very understanding and even encouraging of him to do those things. So just having the same priorities means that when things come up, which they inevitably do, we both get it. And this goes both ways. I'm just sharing what my perspective is because I can only share my perspective. So that has been a huge benefit. Also, for our business, and I think for many businesses, you have to make a lot of sacrifices. That's just necessary, especially in the beginning. You're going to have to sacrifice some time. You're going to have to sacrifice some money. You're going to have to sacrifice weekends with your friends, whatever it is. And again, for me, not only do I understand those sacrifices, but I'm actually encouraging of those sacrifices, because I'm like, yeah, let's go. I want to reach these goals just as badly as you. So again, for example, if I was not running the business with Jordan, and Jordan, for example, our first year in real estate, we worked 365 days straight. And if he had just worked every weekend and I didn't fully understand why it was so important to him that he was working, or I wasn't working and just doing my own thing, I think that would have caused some conflict, and I maybe would have, I don't know how I would have felt, but because I also had that vision and had those goals, I was up with him every day at 5 a.m. Saturday and Sunday and working with him. And so it wasn't a problem at all because we were doing it together. So that it has been a huge surprising benefit, is having the same priorities. And very similar to that, the next benefit is the work-life balance aspect. Because, for example, that first year when we worked that year straight, there was no balance. But now that our business is in a different place, we can, for example, on a Monday or a Tuesday or a Wednesday, whenever we feel like it, just say, hey, you know what, let's play hooky. Let's take the morning off, or let's take the afternoon off. Let's take the whole day off. And we can spend that time together. Whereas if I was maybe running a different business, or if I had a job, he had a job, whatever, we wouldn't be able to have that freedom and that flexibility with each other. And that is something that I didn't anticipate when I just didn't even think about it. And that has been amazing to just have that together. And also, like I was saying, that first year that we worked, we were still spending time together. So it wasn't so bad because we were doing it together. And that goes back to the time together. And also that's just accountability of having each other. If you've heard me talk about work-life balance before, I don't fully believe in it because I don't think we can put ourselves into boxes like, now this is work and now this is my life. I think they all bleed together. And when you run your business with your spouse, it's so much easier to have those blurred lines because everything is blurry. So that has been a huge, huge benefit. And then the last thing, which I think was the biggest challenge for me, surprisingly, I did not anticipate this to be the biggest challenge. People say, oh, be careful of your roles. You're going to get mad at each other. Things like when the business isn't doing well, that can bleed into your personal life. That's true, but that wasn't a huge thing for me because, like I said, we just use that to work on our communication with each other and to remind ourselves that we are on the same team, which I think is a huge piece of relationship advice that we got very early on in our relationship. When there's a problem, it's never you versus me, it's us versus the problem. We're a team. How can we solve this together? So honestly, when we had hard times in our business, we both just saw that as how can we strengthen our teamwork with each other? And we did. But for me, I can be very hard on myself. And when Jordan is also running the business with me, I in the beginning used to be hard on him as a byproduct. For example, when our book Real Estate Secrets became a bestseller, I had crazy imposter syndrome and was like, I was very excited, but I truly couldn't believe it. And I had a lot of inner stuff to deal with. And that affected Jordan because he was here celebrating and so excited. And I was like, no, it was a mistake. Like, I didn't deserve this. I didn't earn this, all on me. But then he was like, well, by saying that about you, you're also saying that about me. And that was really eye-opening because for Jordan, for me and Jordan, it's very, very easy for me to believe in Jordan and to believe he deserves everything in this world and deserve that everything good that happens to him. He's so worthy of it and all of those things. And it is a little bit more challenging for me to believe that about myself. So it has been a huge blessing for me to work through that as Jordan's business partner, because when good things happen to us, I am able to take more ownership of it, I guess, and really feel how I would feel if I was just congratulating Jordan, because it's, again, like I said, very, very easy for me to congratulate Jordan and to believe in Jordan and all of those things. And then the flip side is true as well. When bad things happen in the business, which is inevitable when you're running a business, it's very easy for me to kind of negative self-talk and say all these bad things about myself, but I would never say those things about Jordan. But in the beginning, when I used to say these, if I was upset and Jordan was trying to comfort me and I would say, oh, our business isn't doing this and all of these bad things, he would take that personally, of course, because it's his business too. And I was saying these bad things about it. And then I would feel so bad, like, no, but I don't mean it about you. I love you. I believe in you. You're doing great. But I was saying those things and I was just saying them about me, but it created such an awareness that why would I say those things about myself if I would never in a million years say them about Jordan, who I love and admire and respect. So it really opened my eyes and helped me a ton with just my relationship with myself, I guess, and how I speak to myself and how I think about myself, using Jordan as the example, because he's someone that I do respect and admire a ton. And I would never say things to him about our business, both positively and negatively, like withholding positive things and also saying more negative things, the way that I would myself about my business. So that has been very, very helpful. So quick recap, the main benefits that I've noticed about working with my spouse has been just having more time together. If you work separate jobs, you're missing out on 10 years with your spouse. And I feel like I gained an extra 10 years, if not more, with Jordan, because we work a lot of weekends together too. Our communication, we've had so much time to practice our communication, and it's become really much stronger. And our teamwork and our unity as a couple has become so much stronger, mostly because we've had a lot of hard obstacles and hard conversations and stuff in the business side. Our priorities are the same. So when things come up in our personal life or in our business life, if we had a big personal thing going on and then last minute something business has to happen, it's a no-brainer, both of us, for us to cancel the personal thing. We don't mind. We have the same goals. We have the same vision. We're running in the same direction, and we totally understand what is a priority and what isn't. And it makes it much easier to make those sacrifices or make those decisions when you both are on the full same page. Also, having work-life balance, which I think is a myth to begin with, but having that blend of work-life time, how you spend your time on those things. When you work with your spouse, it's much easier, because sometimes we go out for date night and it ends up being a big, business meeting, and that's totally fine. I know there's a lot of people that say, oh, don't talk about business. You need to have dates and where you're just talking about whatever. For us, it's like, well, we get really excited about our business and we like to brainstorm, and that's one of our favorite things to talk about and dream about. We're very passionate about our business and the impact that we're making. So I think that it's really easy to have those back and forth when you can just switch into, oh, this is a personal vacation, but we're talking about business, or, oh, this is a business trip, but we are bonding so much as, the marriage side of our relationship, which that has been helpful. And the biggest, for me, challenge, but also blessing of this has been re-examining how I speak to myself about what happens in my business through the lens of how I speak to Jordan about the business, and how sometimes talking to Jordan about how I speak to myself about the business and hearing him feel like I am talking about him, even though I'm only talking about myself, has been very eye-opening and very, very helpful for me to be nicer to myself and treat myself how I treat Jordan, because there's no reason why I should be not as kind to myself as him. So if you are thinking about working with your spouse, I personally can't recommend it enough. It's been incredible. I can't imagine working with anyone else or running my business any differently. I say to Jordan all the time, even if you weren't my husband, I would want you to be my business partner. That's how I feel about Jordan. I know that our skills are very complementary for this business as it is. And I think we got kind of lucky there, so to speak. And maybe not all spouses have that. But if you have any questions about working with your spouse or what it's been like, if you want tips, like I said, if this is a popular topic, I know there's a lot of couples that work together in real estate. I see them all the time. I have a handful of them on my team that work with their spouse. If you want tips of what we've learned on how to manage that balance, then I'm happy to share that. I just wanted to hop on here today and talk about it, like I said at the beginning, if you missed it, mostly because this is a video that I would have loved to watch 3.5 years ago before I met Jordan, just to see what it is really like, because I always thought that I wanted to work with my spouse before I even knew Jordan. But hearing it like this, I think would have made me even more excited about it. And obviously it worked out. I found Jordan and we are working together, but I just wanted to share kind of behind the scenes of what it looks like for anyone who's curious. And let me know if you like this video. Let me know if you want me to keep it more businessy, talking about marketing strategies, talking about the real estate world and all of that stuff, or if you kind of like the more personal stuff behind the scenes. So leave me a #1 if you're watching it live, a #2 if you're watching the replay. I go live every single Monday. If you're watching on YouTube and you haven't already, smash that subscribe button. If you're watching on Instagram or Facebook and you haven't already, head over to my YouTube account. I post videos every week. I go live every Monday here on all of my social media platforms. I just want to help as many people as possible live the life of their dreams, have true financial and time freedom. That is my main passion. I just want to help as many people as I can. So thank you so much for tuning in. I will talk to you soon, or I will see you next week. And in the meantime, remember, you are all kings and queens, and abundance is your birthright. I'll see you at the top.